Hey, besties!
Hey. So you know what I was thinking?
No.
I can't believe that this beach trip went so freaking fast.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking about, too. And I'm like, the husbands are in our phones. When are you coming home? Where are you at? Like, we were just saying this morning, like, they let us have our time. They didn't bother us. They wanted us to have fun. And now
It's done.
the day has come. Get home. Let's wrap it up. Get in the car. Let's go. Like, they're done. Colin was saying before we left, he's like, I'm gonna miss you, I'm gonna miss you, I'm gonna miss you. And I truly do believe that. I do think that he does miss me when I'm gone. I do miss him, but like, and I do miss the kids so much. But like, part of me is like, oh, my me time, my freedom, there it goes.
Yeah.
I can see it fading away.
Yeah.
Like getting up this morning, taking our time, getting ready. I did my hair, did my makeup. Like, I don't even do that at home. Like, I don't have time to take care of myself in the mornings, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe I need to prioritize it more when I get back.
Maybe.
Because it feels good to do a little bit in the morning when I get up. Welcome to Relatively Speaking, the podcast where we dive into the beautiful chaos of everyday life with your hosts, Taylor
and Caitlin. Join us each week as we chat about trending topics, swap tips, and offer heartfelt advice. Think of us as your new besties, ready to tackle the ups and downs of life right alongside you. So get comfy and let's talk about it all, relatively speaking.
Other than that, like, what do you like take care of yourself in other ways? Like, do you watch TV? Do you read books? Do you meditate? Do you do yoga? Like, what are you doing to have a little self-care?
Well, I will say since I've had kids, hardly anything.
Yeah. It's hard to find the time because you have to be so
Intentional
conscious about it. Yeah. Yeah, I think I try to find time I really like to read. And like the jobs that I work 2 part-time jobs. I can read at those jobs because I'm more of like a warm body. And so I have the time to read books, and that's something I can do that brings me a lot of peace. But when I'm at home, I think watching TV is easier because you can just in, out, pause, go, in. And so I will do that in the mornings, like when it's just Sullivan and I, because he doesn't care. If Sonora's awake, that TV is hers.
Yeah.
I can't watch TV if she's even conscious. If she's out sleeping, then I can watch it. But yeah, other than that. So
speaking of, that is something that I don't understand, and maybe I've just like made some missteps in my life. But if the kids are up, we don't always have the TV on.
No, we don't either. And we've been getting better about not having it on.
But we do not watch adult TV when the kids are awake.
No.
Zero.
Colin sometimes tries to watch movies when Sonora's awake because he works from home, and so like he's in the living room, and so like he will try to watch TV. The other day he had some movie on and someone's literally getting murdered on the screen, and I'm like, dude, turn it off. Like, yes, she's little, but like that could be so scary if she would see that. And I'm like, no, like I'm sorry, you can't. And I know that it sucks, but like the thing is, like, he can work anywhere in the house. He didn't used to be able to do that. He had to be hardwired in, but like now he has a little bit more freedom. Like, they have established a Wi-Fi because there's a lot that goes into it, but now he's able to connect to Wi-Fi, so he can work anywhere. We have a couch in our bedroom. And we have a TV. It's small, but we have a TV in there, and it has Roku. You can watch anything. I'm like, if you want to watch someone getting, offed, unalived on television, you have to watch that in our room. Yeah. But yeah, if Sonora is awake, I can't watch TV.
But when I was younger, we watched Law and Order. We watched Days of Our Lives. Like, my parents controlled the TV.
Game Show Network.
There was no kid TV unless you woke up before the parents in the summer.
Saturday morning.
And watched,
At 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You were vying for it. You're like, oh my gosh, I gotta wake up on the butt crack of dawn so I can watch some TV. And then, like, maybe in the evenings we could watch a show.
A show.
While my parents were cooking dinner or
Yeah.
cleaning up or, you know, doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
We could watch something. And I think that was more so, like, get out of my face. Turn this TV on and shut up.
Now,
and you did. It
Yes.
worked because you're like, oh my gosh.
I never get this.
And you're sitting there, like, thinking about being a kid is crazy. No phone, nothing. You're just raw dogging life.
Yeah.
And so when the TV turns on, you're like, you're not missing a second. You're watching the commercials.
Like they're the show.
Yeah. But not now. These kids, maybe we're too nice to our kids.
Well, so I never thought about it. It was just like my way of life with the kids until I saw someone's Snapchat story and they were Snapchatting their children playing on the living room floor. And I could see their TV in the background and they were watching like a primetime TV show.
When Sonora was younger, and like that's what I'm saying, like when Sonora's napping, I'll watch my show with Sullivan because Sullivan doesn't watch TV.
But not when they're and no. So these children were like my children's age. And
my kids like, would never.
I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Did I do something wrong, or is that not normal?
In my mind,
everybody's normal is normal, but relatively speaking.
Relatively speaking, in my mind, when my kids are a little bit older and have more of an understanding, like, no, mom's watching TV right now. No.
Yeah, maybe.
It's my turn. Just like taking turns with anything. Like, no, this is my turn. Like, I think having breakfast is a big one. These kids think that my breakfast is their breakfast. If I sit down to eat breakfast, they think that they just deserve a bite. And I don't say no because I'm like, you're still at the age where it's like, you need to eat, and eating is important, and sometimes they're picky, so I'm like, okay, whatever. Eat it,
whatever.
Yeah. But, like, that's something that I know in the back of my mind, that's not going to fly forever.
Yeah.
You're not just going to eat all of my food all the time. Like, just like anything with your kids. Like, right now, it's like, okay, right now that's okay, but that's something we're not going to do forever. Just like with everything. Like, and maybe you don't do it that way. I know there's some parents that do one thing and then they're like, well, down the road we're going to have to change that. Or are you the type of parent that's like, we're never doing that. We're never starting that. Because then that's something you have to break. You know, like a bad habit.
Yeah. I think it just depends on the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Because there's certain things I'm like, we're never going to start that. We are never going to start that. But then other things I'm like I don't let my kids sleep in my bed. Unless it's like Sonora. I don't ever let Sylvia sleep in my bed. But like, with her, sometimes in a very rare occurrence, it's like, shut up and go to sleep. I'll let her lay in there. But she's never slept in our bed, so, like, I don't let her sleep in my bed.
She just yaps like her mom.
Yeah, she doesn't sleep because she's like, this is special.
Right. Can't fall asleep, can't miss a minute of it.
Yeah, so she doesn't sleep in our bed, and I think that it's so odd for her that she won't even do it. And so that's something that, from early on, I never was like, oh, you can... No, my kids do not sleep in my bed. That's something I just didn't want to do.
Yeah. Well, obviously this week we're talking about self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to share this little snippet from the National Institute of Mental Health. Said self-care means taking time to do things that help you live well and improve both your physical health and mental health. This can help you manage stress, lower your risk of illness, and increase your energy. Even small acts of self-care in your daily life can have a big impact.
Yeah, which is wild to think because for one point in my life I thought that's crock. Because I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, I like doing things for myself to feel good, but never do I connect the dots and saying, this is good for me. This is good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Like, one child, I felt like I still had plenty of time to do stuff for myself because, okay, when they're napping or when someone else has them, whether like Colin's with her, if Colin has her, I can easily run up and take myself a shower, a nice long shower, and it's not like a lot. But when you have like 2, 3 kids, that's like, man, you're basically leaving the one person in the trenches while you're out here, and then you feel guilty. I would feel so guilty, like, I need to hurry this shower up. He's down there, especially for the first 9 months, Sullivan's nursing. Mm-hmm. Every 5 minutes, he wants to be on the boob. And I'm like, I can't be leaving him too long or else my shower's going to get interrupted. And that would just
ruin
reverse it. Like, everything is just taken back. So, yeah, I think self-care looks different for everyone. Yeah. I'm not super into, like, having, like, a spa day kind of self-care.
Right.
I'm more of, like, this beach trip was like a big chunk.
Huge chunk.
Of like, that covers me. And I think that our husbands know it too. They're
Yeah.
like, what the heck do you mean you need to take a shower? You just took a beach trip. What do you mean you need to go to the bathroom by yourself?
Yeah.
You were just at the beach.
Yeah,
You
you're
do
good for
nothing
like
now.
a couple months now. No, I feel like before kids, like you said, like it's not something you really think about and connect the dots to because you're living like your own life.
Mhm.
Like you're your own person, you're doing
Everyday
your own
self-care.
things.
Every second of your life self-care.
Right.
I drove home from work in silence.
Yes.
Self-care.
Oh my. I do miss that. That was like a complete reset on the way home. Like,
yeah, windows down.
Yes.
Favorite tunes on.
Yep. No longer.
Yep. No.
But when I had Eli, I had severe postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and I just went through this phase where I felt like he can't be with anybody else. Nobody can help me. If David has to help me with something, I'm a failure as a person. Like
I should be able to do it all by myself. I shouldn't need help.
Yeah, I was whacked. So I was pretty bad. There was negative self-care. Like there were times where I wouldn't shower for days and David would be like, Caitlin, go take a shower.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. Especially Eli didn't sleep. And so it's not like I could get him down for the evening and like go take a shower. Like that didn't happen. I was up all the time, which did not help anything.
That was something that when I had Sullivan, so when I had Sonora, she was an easy baby. She was that trick baby that they say.
Yeah.
She slept good from early on. She ate good. She was perfect. And so I had so much time. She went down to bed at 7:00 and she would sleep all night, Caitlin. Sometimes she wouldn't wake up till like 8, 9.
Are you speaking English? I'm not understanding what you're saying.
Yeah, it was whack. And so when I had Sullivan, I was like, what is going on? He didn't sleep. He didn't have a bedtime. Even now, he never, ever, ever went to bed at 7:00. He just tagged along and started going to bed at 8 with Sonora right off the bat because it was too much to try to get him to go to bed at 7 and keep her up for an hour and try to put her. Yeah. Keeping a toddler quiet is impossible. That is like next level job. And so like when I had Sullivan, it was like, dude, I have to be very conscious about taking care of myself, very conscious of asking for help, asking for a break because it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to just, oh, he's down for a nap. For the first 4 months of his life, I had held him for every nap. And then at night he was up 3 times a night, 4 times a night.
Yeah.
You know, and I was also nursing him around the clock. I had someone touching me, attached to me every second. That is where I started realizing I need to take a minute for myself. I need to take time for myself no matter what that looks like. It has to happen because I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, oh, self-care? Yeah, she needs it. She needs it.
I honestly can say I don't feel like I mean, I had all that struggle with Eli that we had Emma so quickly because I'm like, if I have to start over and this is how bad it is, I don't want to do it. So that's,
you might as well be in the thick of it.
Right.
In the thick of it.
So that's why we had Emma so quickly because I'm like, I just rather do it all together, be miserable for the next year, and be done.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, she turned out to be a lot easier baby.
Yeah.
Which made us have a third. But I feel like it hasn't been until this calendar year. No. Mid last year, like 2023, when Bo was like 6 months old, where I'm like, okay, I need to start taking care of myself.
Yeah.
I need to get it together. Because I'd also gained so much weight from depression and overeating.
Having babies
and
back to back to back.
Stress eating. Yeah, and having 3 babies in 3 years. Like, my body was wrecked and my mind was wrecked. And so around my birthday last year, I'm like, I need to start taking care of myself. So I guess that was like when I started realizing, like, I need to do things.
Something outside of the house, almost.
Yeah, so that I'm not losing it. Yeah. So I did start taking care of myself. I started trying to eat healthier. And one of the first things I started doing is going and getting waxed.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like the funnest thing, obviously.
No, but it feels
like you're taking care of yourself. Yeah. And you were out of the house for a half hour, 45 minutes.
I think that that's necessary when you have little kids. I think that when you talk to a lot of veteran moms that have older kids, they'll tell you getting out of the house is self-care. Yeah. Leaving the house, leaving that environment, no matter what you do, whatever you choose to do, That is self-care. Because when you have little kids that are physically on you, touching you, near you, crying, it's so much that you're literally on 1,000.
Yeah.
And you have to remove yourself physically from that situation.
Unless you're like, I don't want to say a perfect person, but there are moms out there who thrive on that. And it takes a lot to get them to the point like that we're talking about. But I feel like every baby is different, every mom is different. I feel like I come from a place with a lot of mental health issues and trauma, and I did not realize how much all of that
those kids crack it right open.
Children were going to affect that and really put me into a spiral.
I never felt that way either. Like when I had Sonora, life was still perfect. When I had Sullivan, I was in the worst place mentally of my entire life. I told Colin multiple times a day, I've never felt like this. I've never felt like this. And so I started going to therapy because I knew deep down I'm not okay. This is not normal. And like that's coming from someone that like I never saw anyone go into therapy when I grew up.
I thought therapy like
was yeah. And but as a mom, you tell yourself, I'm not going to let my kids live in an environment that I felt was unproductive for me. I think my family could have benefited from going to therapy. And I'm not even being funny. Like, I think a lot of people could benefit from going to some type of therapy.
I agree.
Maybe not talk therapy, but something, you know.
Something, yeah.
And now that I'm done therapy, we did record our first podcast and we did talk about this, but that was kind of more just you and I, like, for ourselves. We got kicked out. I got kicked out of therapy. Because as a mom, I missed too many sessions, and they're like, you're done. Now
we can't keep you on our budget.
Yeah, and I totally get it. Yeah. Like obviously it's important, and other people are gonna really need those spots because when I was fresh in it, I needed that. I needed it. And now looking back, I liked my therapist, but I think it opened up for me to realize that I maybe have even deeper issues than I thought. So postpartum and having kids cracks open those broken parts of you and makes you really look at them. And that's why self-care is something that's very small that you can do too. This is my thought. Doing a face mask and having a spa night is not going to fix me. It's not going to fix me, but it's going to get me through to tomorrow because when you're a mom, you're doing the damn thing every day. Yep. There's no, there's no beach trip coming up most of the time where I can take a break, I can get a little R&R. It's not happening. Tomorrow, those kids are going to be doing the same thing they were doing today, and you're going to be just as spent tomorrow. Yep. So you got to do something for yourself. Yep. To get through. So waxing, I also go get waxed. I think that it can be a little self-care. I mean, I find it to be more maintenance, especially like having 3 babies. Girl, I can't see that thing. I can't see it. I need it.
It makes me feel good about myself that I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah, it's doing something where it's like someone else is doing this for me, so that's something off my plate almost that I don't have to do and I don't have to worry about. And it's like it looks good. I'm cleaned up, and like I like to get my nails done, and I really liked getting my nails done before I had Sonora. But then when you have a baby, you're like, oh, I don't want to stab them in the eyeball, so I stopped getting my nails done. And then I started staying home with my kids, and I didn't work, so I was like, well, I can't afford. That's an extra expense.
Spend that money. Yeah.
So over the last few weeks, months, whatever, I was like, well, I'm not really going to get my hair done as much because I stopped dyeing my hair and I let it go to its natural color. And so I was like, I told Colin, I was like, if I stop getting my hair done and I only go every like twice a year, do you think I could make a budget to get my nails done? Because like respectfully, like I'm a stay-at-home mom. So the money in the budget for extra stuff like that isn't always there. So
and it's not like you are specifically asking permission. I just want to be clear about that because that's not really how your relationship is. Colin is like the money manager of your house.
It was more so like I can do whatever I want, but it was more so like, hey, this is what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm going to stop getting my hair done so much because I really would like to get my nails done more. I think that fuels me more. I feel like it's more of something visual. I look at and it's like a reminder, and then I feel good, and I feel like if I don't get to do my hair, if I don't get to brush my teeth, if I don't get to put makeup on, my nails are done. So I actually started going to my cousin, and she gave me a bit of a discount.
Nice.
So I'm like, oh, okay, girl. I'm worked up. So now I can afford to get my nails done every single, 2 weeks,
When it
whatever,
needs done, yeah.
maintenance, and it feels so good. Like, it was
Yeah.
just what I needed. But like I said, self-care is different for everyone, because some
Yeah.
people are like, I'm not wasting money on that,
Yeah.
So
I will say I did start getting pedicures again with Velvet. We go like every 6 weeks.
mhm.
And that's a nice time because I'm also doing it with her, which I don't get to
So
see
you're
her
able to
anymore.
catch up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little like an hour break where we get to catch up, we get our toes done. Yeah. I do feel a little stressed during that time because we always have to go
In the evening.
in the evening prime time where it's like you're roughing it to bedtime, and I like leave David in the trenches, but it's 1 hour every 6 weeks. So
Yeah. I used to feel that way. I used to feel guilty, and then I started, KP and I would go swimming just as like an exercise a few nights a week. And I think that I feel guilty because Colin is away at work, and then he comes home, and or even if he's working from home, then he's home for the night, and then I'm like checked out. I want to be done. I want to be off the clock because I'm staying home with
yeah.
them, and it feels like he's pretty much on all the time because he's working all day, and then he's coming home, and he's on with the kids, and he's doing it all. Like, he's helping with dinner, he's helping with bath time, he's helping with bedtime, like, he's doing it. And it's like sometimes I feel guilty that he doesn't get a break either, and he doesn't have any like form of self-care either. And I think
He
as
works out. Does he still work
he
out?
does work out. Yeah, he tries to work out 3 or 4 days a week, but he's like, I will say he does it. I hope he never listens to this episode, because he'll be like,
He's
oh yeah, see, you
definitely
hear that?
definitely gonna definitely gonna be listening to this episode.
So I do feel a little guilty because I think as it's important for us to take a break and have time for ourselves, I think it's also important to encourage your partner to take a break and have time for themselves too. Because I think that they realize that we're going through it, that like we went through hard times postpartum, that we're with these kids all day, that we're stressed out. And so they want to be like supportive, and they want to help us out so that we can get our breaks. I think it's also important for me to remember to encourage Colin to take breaks and do stuff for himself too.
Yeah.
That's hard for me because I'm like, you had to drive home. That's not self-care. It feels like it for me, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
I want him to be able to
Yeah.
work out and go hang out with friends, go do whatever he wants to do. I want him to do that. And I'm like, I'm not going to force him. Like, because in his mind, he's like, oh, I love being with the kids in the evening. I love that time. I love hanging out with them and playing with them. But he's also gone during the day, and he can't do that during the day. So for him, it doesn't feel like a chore. Whereas for me, when I've been home all day, then another 3 hours between when he gets home and bedtime, I'm like, this is hard. This is hard for me.
I feel like I am always encouraging David to take breaks or go do what he needs to do. Like, it's no problem, just go. But one of my flaws is I am self-sacrificial to a fault where it literally threatens my entire existence, but I would lay myself down on the tracks for him. And I think it took him a long time to realize that that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because he's like, you're saying it's fine, but I can tell, like, you're not okay. Like, something's going on.
Yeah.
And not that I wasn't okay with him taking the break, but it really wears on you. And especially when you're not doing self-care, like I was just spiraling.
Yeah.
And postpartum, all of that stuff. So I think it took him a long time to realize, like, I'm an idiot and not taking care of myself. But now he's more aware, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do that, or you need to do this, or.
Well, and David's the type of guy that he's got 20 things that he could be doing at any time.
Yeah.
So it's not like he needs to find something to do.
Right.
It's like, well, I have things that I could be doing, just say the word and I'll go do them.
Yeah.
Colin's not like that. Now, in the wintertime, from like October, November until like January, February, he coaches basketball and he loves it. It fills his cup. And when he did it and I had just Sonora, I was no problem, whatever. Because he would even like if I had to put her to bed, it was no problem. I did that every night anyway. I was able to put one kid to bed. When we had Sullivan was like 3 months old. Those were the worst nights of my life.
I know. I always felt so bad. I was always offering to come over because I knew how you were feeling.
But oh my goodness, I could not tell him not to do it. I could not tell him not to go because I see it. I recognize how much it meant to him and how much it means to him still now. And I said, I will do anything to make it work. Mm-hmm. And there was definitely times where I was like, I shouldn't be but then you feel like a failure. Mm-hmm. These are my kids. Mm-hmm. I should be able to take care of them any time of the day. I should be able to put them to bed. I should be able to handle it. But when you have, at that time, Sonora is like 18 months, Sullivan is like fresh, putting him down to bed was the whole gamut of, I had to feed him in the dark room, and then he had reflux, so you had to hold him upright, and it takes a long time, and you're trying to keep your toddler entertained, and she's only going to sit for so long that she's coming in, Mommy, where are you? And she's looking for me. I'm trying to put him to bed. You lay him down, he's back up. Mm-hmm. You lay him down, he's back up. And it's like, at that time I was trying to put him to bed before her because she didn't go to bed till 8. He wasn't making it the whole way to 8 unless you let him take a little snooze, and then he's up till 10, 11. I was like, I was struggling. Yeah. But it was almost like it could have been like, I just need someone to sit with Sonora. I just need someone. But then in my mind, I'm like, these are my kids. Mm-hmm. I need to figure it out. And I think that that's the thing. There's just going to be a point in time as a mom where things are really, really hard and you need help. I think about single moms every day as a mom and think about what their life looks like having maybe more than one kid by themselves. Insane.
Yeah, single moms have like 4 or 5 kids. I don't understand. I don't know how. I don't know how.
I never felt like when I just had Sonora, I felt like I could do it all. Mm-hmm. But it's one kid. Yeah. It's like you just tote it around. You do it's one kid. Mm-hmm. You're responsible for one other human. When you're one person taking care of more than one person.
Multiple.
And that I think that one thing that actually got me through was knowing that you were doing it. And having you as a bestie, knowing that you were doing it. Knowing that you had 3 kids, under 3, and you were putting them to bed. I mean, mind you, David was there. But you're doing nap time. You're doing mornings. You're doing bedtime. You're doing middle of the night wake-ups. And you're doing it. And you're still showing up to work. You're still showing up in your community and doing things like that. Like showing up to church. Showing up for your sisters when they need it. And I'm like, dude, she is doing it. And I know that you probably made it look easier than it was.
Oh, and I always told you, like, don't look at me like that because I'm literally insane. I'm not mentally healthy half the time. Like,
yeah.
But like I said earlier, I feel like one of my, like, flaws, I'm going to call it a flaw because I don't think it's a good thing, that I'm self-sacrificial to a point that's unhealthy. Mm-hmm. And I've been working on that, especially, like, in my relationship with my sisters. Like, I've really been working on that because I know I need to be there for myself more. Mm-hmm. To be there for my kids more.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the line. Like, that's the most important thing. Anything outside of me, my husband, and my kids is all secondary. I really need to focus on my family. Like, right now, I feel like my family is my life, my family is my ministry, and I need to take care of me to take care of them in the way that I want to take care of them and have a family. And it's taking me to my 3rd child to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that expression that I was telling you about with the one girl that I follow, or I did follow, I don't follow her anymore, but her, like, saying was, first things first, I'm first. And I was, like, a little bit like, oh my gosh, that's cringy.
It is.
But when she has 3 little kids, she makes it a point every single day. Mind you, like, she's an influencer. So, like, I'm sure she has help. And so she's like, well, one of my thing is I get myself ready, fully ready for the day every single day. Because if I don't show up for myself, how am I going to show up for these kids? And I think to a point, it is important to do that. It is important to show up for yourself. And I know there's a lot of things out there where they say, Well, wake up before your kids.
Yeah, no.
When your kids don't sleep through the night.
Yeah. You need every possible second that you can get.
Yeah. When I had Sonora, I would wake up before her and do stuff. And I do hope to get back there someday when Sullivan does fully sleep through the night.
She slept through the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your kids aren't sleeping through the night,
Forget
don't tell people, oh, well, wake up before your kids. I am at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, stuff around your house is not that important that you need to be sacrificing other aspects of yourself. Yeah. Self-care might just look like sleeping in as long as you possibly can. Yeah. Self-care might look like rotting in bed at night after your kids go to sleep. Self-care might look like taking yourself out, walking around Target for an hour with an empty shopping cart. Like, self-care can look any kind of way, you know? And I think that it's important. I think it's necessary for moms and dads, any caregiver. You need time. You need your own time, because I think when you're in the thick of parenting and you're in the thick of it with kids, or even like, let's say you don't even have kids, when you're in the thick of it with work, when you're in the thick of it with family shit, you know, like, you need to take care of yourself so you can feel like a normal person. You need to remind yourself, I'm human. Yeah. I need me. Like, I need to take care of me before I can take care of anything else.
So before kids, one of the things that I used to do before kids was craft.
Yeah. Crafty Caitlin.
I crafted, like, any medium. Like, I just love being creative. And that's weird for me to say because I'm not really a creative person outside of, like, the craft realm. But I love crafting. Mm-hmm. I love, like, when I did that wreath workshop at my house.
That was so fun.
And I invited, like, a bunch of people over that, literally filled my cup. Crocheting, painting. We had a family friend that got me into glasswork. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that glasswork art kind of came into play when I was pregnant with my first child. And I've never gotten to it. Yeah. Back to it at all. Yeah. Like, it was just like a little blip in my life. And so I want to get back to that so bad. Yeah. And this podcast, like,
this is a creative outlet. I'm so glad we decided to
take that leap. I was trying to think back. I feel like it was in the spring, like around April, the first time that March or April, where we, like, joked about, like, we should have a podcast. Yeah. And then we just kept, like, saying it. We should have a podcast. We have a podcast. And then we started getting more serious about, like, maybe we should have a podcast. Yeah. And that gave me such an outlet. I feel like I was constantly, like, looking things up and looking at different platforms and listening to other podcasts, and it really made me feel like I had something again. And then we were looking at my she shed. I have a shed. And it's a she shed.
The pod studio.
But it's never been anything. My she shed. Even though that's, like, what, when we moved to our new house, like, that was supposed to be mine.
Yeah, because David has the barn.
It's never been mine because we've always stored equipment in there or whatever. Now, we did have the
workshop in there.
The wreath workshop, but that was it. That was, like, the only thing that ever happened in there. And so when we started doing this, I instantly was like, I want the pod to be down there. And so we, like, started planning. We started having our vision board of, like, what we wanted. And I bought a craft table.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because half of it is going to be pod and the other half is going to be my crafting again. Yeah. And I bought this really nice craft table off Marketplace. And I moved all my craft stuff over there. Now, it's not all organized yet, but it's loosely organized, like, where I want it. And just moving the stuff and getting it set up, oh my gosh.
It's filling your cup.
I've got this little fire down inside of me, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing we talk about with kids. It's like, it's not always going to be this way.
It's not always.
They're not always going to be up your butt. This soon will come a day where these kids are like, Mom, who cares? And then you're going to be like, oh, I have all this.
Or they're going to want to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Have interest in what you're doing. Yeah.
Or they're going to be big enough where they're like, well, we're going to play outside and you're sitting right there at your craft table. Yeah. Looking out and watching them. Yeah. You know? And it's like, they don't need you every single second. And then self-care will look different even then. Yep. It will be more fulfilling instead of just baseline needs taking care of yourself. It'll be like productivity. It'll be making something, crafting something. Because I will say, having parents that never really had anything for themselves, it was very obvious. Whereas, like, if you have a parent that's like, oh, my mom, like, does clay, like, oh, my mom does painting, my mom is this, those kids see the value in taking care of yourself and having something for yourself. And I feel like that builds a good self-care model in their brain. My mom always took the time for herself. That shouldn't be selfish. That shouldn't sound selfish. My mom always took the time to get ready for the day. Like, Colin's mom takes care of herself. She takes care of her house, she takes care of herself, and I don't think the woman sleeps more than 3 hours a night, but her house is immaculate. Her hair is done. Her outfits are on point every day. She takes care of herself. She shows up for herself. She doesn't let anything slip through the cracks. And as a mom, I look at that and I almost have this envy, but I also have this adoration. Like, she can do it, and she was a damn good mom. And, like, she was doing it, and she's the type of person that you look at and you're like, how is she still going? How does she have all this energy? How is she always so happy? And I'm like, I'll figure it out. Maybe I need to, like, get in her ear a little bit.
Something's wrong with me. What's happening? Yeah.
And like you said, there's some moms out there that just thrive in it.
Yeah.
That it's that being a mom is everything. And being a mom is everything.
It is.
But it's not the only thing that makes me who I am. Like, having this podcast and we're talking about stuff, being a mom is not all of who I am. It feels like it most of the time, but it's not everything. It's not everything. It doesn't make up every fiber of my being. And there has to be more to me. So I feel like a normal person sometimes. Like, I can't just be mom every second, every single day. Even though I am a mom every second, every single day. It can't be everything to me. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people out there that are like, I don't want to talk to you. All you ever talk about is your kids. All you ever care about is your kids. And it's like, there has to be more to me than that.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm feeling excited. I feel like I'm at a really good place to where I'm pivoting to understand that and not being completely self-sacrificial all the time and realizing that I do need to take care of myself. One thing that I actually have started doing recently is after I had Beau, it's like my hormones weren't regulating back.
Yeah.
And I had really bad acne. My face was just constantly bad. Like, nothing would make it go better.
Yeah.
And don't look at it now if you can see me, because we got burnt this weekend. But the one thing I decided to do is start a skincare routine. Like, I always took care of my skin. Like, I would always wash my face and I would moisturize like 70% of the time. But I mean, like, from a beginning to the end, skincare routine. And so I did. I went online, I researched, and I bought a skincare line where there's a peel that you do once a week, there's a mask that you do once a week, there's different serums that you use, and the face wash and the moisturizer. And when I started doing that, just that act, because after bedtime, that's when I would do it, it made me feel like, oh, like I'm doing something, I'm taking care of me. Now, I will say, there are some nights where it just gets a face wash and it just gets a moisturizer because I don't have anything left.
Yeah.
But to know that I have that I can do, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every person is going to have something different that they like to do. And I feel like I referenced Sex in the City. I referenced it in the last podcast, or maybe it was 2 podcasts ago. They called it secret single behavior. It's those, like, dirty things that you do that you don't want people to know about, like pop your zits, or, like, do, like, that kind of stuff. And it's like picking my tonsil stones, like, stuff like that. But it's something that, like, I feel like once I do whatever this secret behavior is, it's like, okay, I feel so good after doing this. And, like, who even knows what that is? Like, secret single behavior could be like shaving your upper lip or like bleaching your, or shaving, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like that stuff that's like, I don't want anyone to see me doing this, but this is the routine. This is part of my care and I have to do it. And you wouldn't get it and I don't want you to watch. It's that behavior that like when your husband's not home, you're getting it done. And it's like, oh, he's downstairs. I'm going to do this really quick so he doesn't see it. You know? That stuff's like also really important. That's like that on the DL. You got to do it when no one else is around, you know?
That makes me giggle. I don't think I have anything like that.
You don't have any secret
I don't think
behavior?
so.
No, nothing that you're like, ooh.
I don't think it's weird. I think it's very normal. But I don't think I have anything like that.
Let me know. Let me know if you have any secret single behavior. I mean, I'm going to probably reference Sex and the City. It's one of my top 10.
I think you're going to reference a lot of shows. You watch shows season by season, like beginning to end.
Well, I don't watch a lot of shows. That was part of, like, before I had kids, that was a big thing, part of my self-care. I like watching movies, but I think to be culturally relevant, I really liked watching those big shows. Sex and the City is a cultural moment, and to know it is to love it. I have every season on DVD. It shaped me. Now, I'm not like dressing Sex in the City. I'm not like doing that behavior, but to know the characters, to know the references means something to me. Like knowing it and being a girl's girl, Sex and the City is the show. You've never seen it?
I've only seen like bits and pieces, but I personally felt like it was just like the Days of Our Lives. Like I feel like it was the same thing, like the same situation.
No. So I had to hit like all the big ones. So I've seen Sex and the City, I've seen How I Met Your Mother, I've seen Friends, I've seen The Office, I've seen I just finished Gilmore Girls for the very first time. I wouldn't give it like a 10 out of 10.
No.
It was cutesy, but that was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm gonna watch A Year in the Life. Don't get me started on reality shows. That's a whole other beast.
She's in it.
I'm a reality queen. I feel like a lot of people are. I think that's secret single behavior. Watching
that
trashy
is
reality
secret
television.
single behavior.
Watching trashy television shows.
When David and I got together, and I was really into that scene, like really into the reality, really into the trash TV. When David would catch me watching it, he'd be like, "Why are you watching this trash?"
Yeah.
And I feel like he got in my head because I was so self-sacrificial. And I'd be like, "Oh, I can't.
You're right,
I shouldn't watch this anymore." Remember I used to watch Wendy every day.
Wendy was messy.
I love Wendy. I miss Wendy. I feel bad for Wendy.
Yeah. But like watching...
She was my girl. She's what got me through. In the thick of it with Eli, when I was very bad, PPD, PPA, Wendy. Yeah. Every day.
Having a show, I think, can be a big form of self-care. Having something that you're looking forward to. And you always remember your comfort show when you have babies. I watched Bridgerton for the very first time when I had Sonora.
Oh my.
It was life-changing. Bridgerton turned into one of my top 10s.
Yeah.
Sex and the City, Heart of Dixie. Have you ever seen Heart of Dixie?
Oh, Velvet.
One of my top 10s. So good.
Velvet loves Heart of Dixie.
It's so good. But I can't wait to... if I see Velvet on the street, that's the first thing I...
You chat her up about it. She will chat you up about it. She loves it. She would... Oh, I can't say it. I'll tell you later. But she would do things that would shock you to be able to watch that show.
It's very hard to find now. It was on the CW. Mm-hmm. And CW shows were their own breed. But...
I'm just saying, she got her hands on it somehow. Like, she was not going without.
Oh, it's... Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would honestly probably buy it. It was one of my top 10s. Like, I bought Sex and the City all the 6 seasons because they were HBO shows.
I feel like that's so out now, though. Who buys a physical copy of stuff?
If you have no other choice and that's your number one.
I guess.
If you care a lot about TV shows, like, and, like, at some point in your life, all of your favorite shows might be gone. And you'll have no way to watch them. And then...
But that gets you back to your future, your wishful reality of not having any other purpose than to take care of your kids and homestead and not worry about the rest of the world.
True. And I can force my kids to watch it. Yeah, because I was watching Sex and the City because obviously it came out in the 90s and I was
Right.
born in 97. So it was before my time.
Mm-hmm.
So also Heart of Dixie was honestly probably before my time. It was probably like early to mid 2000s.
I don't even
I
know.
would have been like a little kid. Like, but I watched it. I think it was on Netflix. And so I watched all of it. What else did I watch? So Heart of Dixie is set in the same, it's on the same lot as Gilmore Girls. So the town of
Really?
Stars Hollow is the same lot.
And is Heart of Dixie the one that's like Canadian?
No.
Oh,
They're based out of, it's Alabama. Bluebell, Alabama.
okay. I know that's the show. Why did I think
Canadian
it was
is
Canadian?
Schitt's Creek.
No. I'm just thinking of Velvet. Like, there was something about Canada, about that show.
Maybe it's you're talking about like the OC or...
No. It was that show. I feel like they had a season that was released, like, later, but it was only released in Canada.
Maybe.
And I think that's the one that she, like, had to get her hands
live.
on.
I didn't watch it live.
Yeah, there was something about it.
It's very similar to Virgin River. So the
Yeah.
doctor in...
Cheryl said I should watch that.
You never watched Virgin River?
No.
If you like Virgin River, you'll like Heart of Dixie. And I'll tell any Virgin River fans out there, if you are like vining for Virgin River, I love this show. A lot of people do. Heart of Dixie is very similar, but it's a little more fast paced. Heart of Dixie has the same doctor in the show and in Virgin River. It's the same doctor, almost the exact same character. Dr. Vernon Mullins in Heart of Dixie is Brick Breland in Heart of Dixie. Brick is Vernon in Virgin River. And they are both doctors. They both work at these small town clinics, and they both have almost the same grumpy character attitude. It's literally almost identical. And that's like, it brings you back to it because it's like this root character.
Yeah.
And it's like the same almost in both. Now, I don't love the way Heart of Dixie ended, but it was very rushed.
Any show ends well.
They rushed the end, and it's because they carried it on too long, and then the actors are done. They're ready to get out of there.
They had to wrap it up.
And they had to wrap it up, which I think is what happens a lot with most TV shows. But if you're into TV, let me know. Now, like I said, reality is its own beast.
Mm-hmm.
Sister Wives, Plathville,
Love is
Thousand
Blind.
Pine Sisters. Netflix ones are not...
I started Love is Blind
stop watching
the
them.
beginning.
Yeah.
Like the
I
OG.
watched the first 4 seasons.
And then I'm like, okay.
But, like, I also love, like, competition reality. Survivor, Big Brother.
I was into that when my parents watched it, but not...
Like, Colin and I watch Big Brother now. I watched the first 10 seasons of Survivor, binged those when I was pregnant with Sullivan. And then there's, like, 50 seasons of Survivor. I don't have time for that. That's too much. That's too many. You know what I mean? But I feel like in my mind, I will at some point finish them. I will go back and watch them again. But then, like, a little part of my brain tells me watching TV is a waste of time. It is. I mean...
It can be. I love hearing you talk about the shows, though. Like,
I can give... Sister Wives, 18th season.
Yes.
This is about to be the 19th season.
Yes.
I've watched every minute, every second of Sister Wives.
It cracks me up because Sister Wives came out...
It was 10 years old when I watched it when I was pregnant with Sonora, so 12 years ago.
And 12 years ago, I would have been...
It would have been fresh for you.
I watched the beginning of Sister... Like, I watched the first couple seasons, like, live.
Boring.
Like, that's what I did.
Snooze fest.
And then I stopped watching it. And then when you said that you were watching Sister Wives, it would always make me laugh. But then...
messy.
Yeah.
Messy.
Talking to you, it always brought it up on my FYP, and that's how I watch Sister Wives now, through the FYP.
And then with Tay giving you all the in-between.
Yeah. But I feel like I would get a lot of it, because they always put the hot stuff
You
out.
wouldn't miss it. I had to watch every season. It's the same in my life. I have to get everything from the beginning. Every story, everything.
You have to know every
miss
little
anything.
underlying tone.
Duggars, that's like Fundy core.
I can't watch Duggars.
Core.
Yeah.
That's where it all started. The Duggars started it all. There would be no Sister Wives without the Duggars. There would be no Plathville without the Duggars.
Yep.
There would be none of it.
Did you see that new show? What's that new show? The Mormon Wife show coming out?
The same-sex attraction?
No. This is Mormon Wives. And they're like,
yeah, the girls that were on TikTok.
We love the Mormon lifestyle. Yeah.
There's no way. I will watch that. I
know you
watch
will.
that.
I know you will.
Not gonna miss it. Because that's crazy. TLC is messy for the money.
TLC is so
TLC
messy.
is messy for the money. I think that there's a part of me that wants to get into the Real
you love it.
Housewives.
Yes.
There's the Real Housewives of
Bethany
Atlanta.
Frankel?
Yes.
Okay. That is my connection to the Real Housewives. And I watch her on TikTok, and I don't even get it.
No.
I don't even get why everybody hates her.
Yeah.
Everybody hates her. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But everybody
I think
hates
that
her.
that's something that I'll probably get into at some point. I did watch Jersey Shore.
Yep, Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore Family Vacation.
Teen Mom.
I didn't watch Teen Mom. I would like to also go back and watch all of Teen Mom. I watched it when it was happening live. I watched all of 16 and Pregnant.
Yes.
And then when Teen Mom came out, there's 2 different Teen Moms. There's Teen Mom 1 and Teen Mom 2. And then I think that some of them dropped out and then they're all just Teen Mom.
Yes. Which
consists of, I don't know what the current story is, but it's obviously Amber, Macy, Farrah, Leah, Janelle, Massey.
Janelle, well, I won't say that. She's messy.
Yeah. But, like, I think that it has to get to a point where if you know too much, this has turned into a TV show pod.
I know, but this is self-care. Oh my gosh, and I do love it. We'll wrap it up with our final thoughts. Yeah. We'll wrap up this TV section. We'll wrap up our final thoughts on self-care.
We need a full pod on TV.
Yeah.
I could go on and on and on and on about Reddit and
I will say
TV.
Yeah. So I was definitely an OG 16 Pregnant Teen Mom watcher. When they announced they were going to do Teen Mom, I'm like, oh, hallelujah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot though because and maybe other people don't find it to be so daunting, but I have to get everything. I don't want to watch something and then someone brings something up and I'm like, I don't know what that is. I have to see it from the beginning because I don't want to be in the dark about anything. Yeah. And that's my toxic trait.
So, final thoughts on self-care. What's your final thought?
My final thought is self-care is anything. Self-care can be anything. Just doing something for you that makes you happy, that fills your cup, is self-care. It doesn't have to be doing a skincare routine. It doesn't have to be going and getting your nails done. It doesn't have to be...
It doesn't have to be a huge thing.
It doesn't... Yeah. It could be rotting in bed after a long day.
Yeah. My self-care when I was down in the dark depths was just going and getting a coffee.
Yeah. And sometimes when you're in the thick of it, that's what it looks like. Yeah. That's what self-care is just taking yourself and getting a treat and savoring it.
Yep. As hard as it can be, you really, really need to do it. Even like the smallest thing. Sometimes that's the only thing that keeps your sanity. Yeah. And so when you're feeling low and you're telling yourself you can't do it or you're not going to do it or you're trying not to think about doing it, do something. Yeah. Do something. It does make all the difference in the world.
Even if it's something that you feel in the moment, I don't even want to do this.
Yeah. It's so hard.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've been there. Yeah. Mom or not, take care of yourself. It's important.
Yeah.
All right, besties.
I think that's it. We'll see you next week.
All right. Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.